war is hell. I'm a product of war. I was born in an internment camp. Because of the war, Japan and the United States. And I go back to Hiroshima. Again, a product of war where a lot of people, 150,000, just perished overnight. War. And I fought in Vietnam. I saw many people step in a booby trap, mined, they get assassinated, killed.
ニュージャージー州で不動産業を営む日系アメリカ人のフルモトタケシさん。2つの戦争を経験し、自由と平等の国、アメリカに潜む人種差別を目の当たりにしてきました。日本にルーツを持ち、祖国アメリカで生きるフルモトさんは、自身の経験を語り継ぎ、より良い未来のために積極的に働きかけたいと考えています。
The past history repeat itself, so I had to make it better. And America is one of the leading countries in diversity. I like to see that color disappear, make a very peaceful country, because it is my country.
明治時代以降、不況に苦しむ日本からハワイやアメリカ本土へ出稼ぎ労働者として多くの日本人が渡米し、農作業に従事しました。古本さんの父、清人さんは、1921年、13歳の時に広島からカリフォルニア州へ移り住みました。異人種による結婚が禁止され、日系一世は土地を所有することが許されない、人種差別が色濃く残る時代でした。そんな環境の中でも、清人さんは真面目に働き続け、農産物卸売会社の共同経営で成功を収めていきました。
My father, despite the fact that he only had 8th grade education, despite the fact that he attended segregated school, but he worked hard and he really made a success of himself, starting a produce business in Los Angeles, California. He had 26 men working for him, despite the fact that he could not speak English, but he saw that America gives opportunity.
しかし、日本移民の増加とともに、アメリカ国内では反日感情が高まっていきました。そして日米開戦。古本さん一家の穏やかな生活は一変します。ルーズベルト大統領が大統領行政命令第9066号に署名。アメリカ西部を中心に日系人の立ち退きと強制収容が進められました。およそ12万人の日系人はスーツケース2つだけの持ち運びが許され、砂漠地帯など人が住むには過酷な地域に建設された収容所で生活することを強いられました。1944年、カリフォルニア州北部にあったトゥーリーレイク収容所で古本さんは生まれました。ここでの日系人の生活について家族の話や資料から学んできました。
This was true case of racial discrimination. They were treated very inhumanely. There was a guard tower with a machine gun facing you. And there was one day, one gentleman was about 18, 19 years old. He missed the bus to go work outside the camp in a farm. So he was trying to catch the bus. He was shot from behind on the back and he died.
この守衛が罰せられることはなかったといいます。あらゆる権利が奪われ、不安な生活が続く中、収容所では日系人が助け合いながら暮らしていたといいます。
Typically, like my father had a job carrying shoyu, one of those barrels. So everybody had a job. Some people had jobs cooking, and some people farmed for the food. And Turtle Lake Camp, they were teaching Japanese language, Japanese culture, because people who went to Turtle Lake, they were really ready to go back to Japan because of the treatment. So actually my sisters were learning Japanese language. They were even singing national songs in the camp. Since there's no stores, we had to order from Sears on a catalog, and they used to get things. But we didn't get paid too much, so we couldn't really. It was a meager living.
第二次世界大戦で日本と同様にアメリカと敵対していたドイツやイタリアをルーツに持つ人々に対して強制収容は行われませんでした。1945年に終戦を迎えると収容所は閉鎖され、日系人は生活を立て直していきました。古本さん一家は広島に住む家族を心配し、日本へ移住します。しかし再び家族でアメリカへ戻る決意をしました。
This is the only country we had in Japan. When we were there, we were outcast. They call us America Gairi. And even though our roots was there, still we didn't have a home.
日本へ一度移住した一家がアメリカに再び戻ることは簡単ではありませんでした。
My mother, who was born in this country, had American citizenship. Her passport was confiscated. My father was born in Japan, so he could not come back. When my sister, Mary, turned 21, she would go back to the United States and could recall our parents, finally. But we didn't have any money, so we came back one by one. And finally, we all got together. That particular day was my happiest moment in my life. I was 11 and a half years old, but really very happy to see the family together. I lived in South Central Los Angeles, which was gang-infested area. Today, it is known as the gang capital of the United States, even though we grew up over there. But this was our home, and we had no place to go.
11歳から再びアメリカで暮らしていた古本さんは名門大学 UCLA を卒業。その後、軍の幹部を養成する士官学校に入り、ベトナム戦争ではアメリカ陸軍に従軍しました。
When I was in college, I was watching television when the war was going on. Every night, I would see the American soldiers being carried in a helicopter, dropped off in the jungle. Many soldiers come back in a plastic bag, which means that they were killed in action. So I didn't want to go on the front line. So I volunteered to go to officer candidate school. When our class graduated, but our entire class became military intelligence. I said, oh boy, military intelligence. I'm going to be in an air-conditioned office in Saigon. That wasn't true. I was sent to most dangerous place right on Cambodian border. I was a counterpart with the national police over there. At that time, I lost my superior officer. He was a black American major, and he lost his leg. So he was sent back to United States. So I was in charge, and I was only 2 months into my tour in Vietnam. I didn't know what the hell I was doing, and I had a hard time. Maybe that was the time, perhaps I got my PTSD. And of course, I was near the jungle, so I was also exposed to Agent Orange, that's the defoliant.
同じ部隊に所属するアメリカ兵の間で人種による対立もあったといいます。
This was for Japanese-American Second War that they fought together. Vietnam War for blacks was the first war the Caucasian and blacks fought together. So it was very difficult because it's only 20 years right after World War II and we were mistreated. However, because I grew up in South Central LA, I went to school with the black kids. They came to my support.
ベトナム戦争では過酷な経験が多くのアメリカ兵に極度のストレスを与え、帰還後に PTSD、心的外傷後ストレス障害を発症するケースが数多く報告されました。古本さんも深い傷を負って帰ってきました。
And when you do face that trauma day after day, you get really traumatized and you come home a different person. There's another body inside of you. I couldn't hold a job because I couldn't focus. When you get frustrated, you pick fight. Many people coming back from war, they go hide. For my case, I lived in Los Angeles. I came East Coast. Finally, I got a little bit lonely, and I contacted my wife. Took her a long time to say yes, but she came. But she, you know what she said? It is the biggest mistake in my life that I married you. And she was absolutely right, because I used to kick her out and say, you go back home. So I used to send her back to LA.
I did spend time with my parents, so they said, well, life is not easy, so you have to just take it. And they kept saying the word gaman, stick it out. So I did.
その後、なんとか成功しなければと奮起し、古本さんは不動産業を始める決意をしました。賃貸$100の小さなオフィスからの出発でした。日本経済の成長とともに日系企業のアメリカ進出が進み、事業は成功を収めていきます。そんな古本さんとキャロルさんにはある運命的な出会いが待っていました。
She was in a business called NTN Credit, where they did credit reports on customers to see how their credit score was. She gave me her business card. I looked at the last name Oka.
And she looked at my last name and saw Ooka. And then she said, I think my husband's going to want to meet you. So she invited me to come the next day when he was coming to the office. And I won't ever forget Taxon when he came in. He introduced himself right away, and he brought in his family album. So he opened it up to a page in the album, and he showed me a photo. Do you know this picture? And I said, I do know that picture. That's a picture of my grandfather's produce store in Los Angeles before World War II. And he said, oh, where's your grandfather? And I said, well, he's right there. And I pointed to him. And then he said, well, do you know the gentleman next to him? I said, I have no idea who he is. And he said, that's my father. So it was really an incredible meeting.
この出会いを経て、共に家族の歴史を紐解きながら交流を深めた古本さんとエリザベスさん。古本さんが50年間続けてきた不動産事業をエリザベスさんが後継者として引き継ぐことを決めました。古本さんは若い世代に過去の歴史から学んでほしいと考え、自身や家族が経験してきた強制収容所での生活や戦争の悲惨さについて大学や公共イベントで伝えています。また強制収容は人種差別だとして国と戦った日系人フレッド・コレマツの記念日認定を自治体に働きかける活動も続けています。
In internment camp for 3.5 years, we were locked up. All the rights were taken away so that this does not happen to any other American, any other people. So I've been working on that. Past has very profound meaning for present. You really have to know the past so that it doesn't repeat itself. But it's present now, but you want to make sure the future is protected.